What's up, everyone? Based Polls back at it again. And you guys guessed it right. Pennsylvania is going to be the state we're going to take a deeper dive into today. And it's going to be a crucial swing state if President Trump wants to get reelected. So let's just take a look at the polymarket odds here. And as you can see right here, this is changing every single day. Currently, Kamala Harris got 54% chance uh, to win the state, and it seems as though Trump's lead is vanishing as the weeks go on and as the days go on. And remember, Kamala Harris's Veep stakes are going on too, and it seems evident that she's going to pick a vice president candidate soon, as soon as the end of this week. And it could be Shapiro, although it seems as though the odds on those have like drastically gone down here. Wallace has kind of gotten some share of that. But we'll see. Anyways, this video is really going to focus on PA and how crucial it's going to be for Trump to win the election. And realistically, there's really not many pathways without Trump winning a Rust Belt state. And PA is going to be critical because it has the most electoral votes. And just take a look here. Pennsylvania, this is sort of just the general results from the last couple of elections from the last 2 decades. And Pennsylvania has always been a swing state. I mean, every time you turn on the TV, it's always been a swing state. Pundits have always been talking about PA. Candidates have always gone there to rally. And even though it is a swing state, look at this graph. Democrats have won it, you know, 5 out of the last 6 elections. So what really, this is really a swing state. But the thing is, Democrats have won it by a narrow margin, and it's always been narrow. And it just so happens that Trump happened to win PA, even without actually getting 50% of the vote. But just take a look at this. Let's go even before Obama. I mean, Al Gore, John Kerry won it by less than 2%, at least in 2004. It's a state that usually will go, let's say, 2 to 5%, give or take, if you account for margin of error. Look at Obama. He kind of had increased that lead. I mean, Obama had always carried states like PA, Iowa, Florida. But as soon as Trump came in, it was evident that something changed. I mean, you look at right here, Trump winning the state, and Joe Biden also narrowly winning by about 2%. Trump barely winning. Trump wins by about less than a percent, by 0.7%. So this is a very critical state, and it's definitely a different story than expected this time around. Many are going to say that obviously PA, their urban areas are going to carry like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and that it's going to be on an upward trend. But I have data to suggest otherwise. So uh, just take a look at this article here from U.S. News, and there's about 15 swing counties in the entire country, and usually the way these counties go is the way the election goes. It's usually indicative of who wins the election. And just take a look right here, and they're all obviously going to be in swing states, these counties, but you got the Rust Belt area. Some of these, some from Florida, Texas, Georgia, and then some from Nevada, Arizona. But as you can see here, Pennsylvania has got 2 counties, and that is going to be Erie County and Lackawanna County. These are 2 swing counties, uh, pretty representative of the state itself and overall country in terms of its divide, in terms of population, socioeconomic status, and so forth. So just take a look at this, right? I mean, if you look at Erie County, Erie County is obviously very perched right at that border, that northwestern border, PA. Lake Erie, not a huge county. Obviously, I believe it's the 15th most populous county in PA, or the 17th, and only accounts for about 2% of PA's population. It's a little bit north of Butler, PA, obviously that area where President Trump was assassinated. And just look at the demographics here. It's comparing Erie County to PA, and it's comparing it to the whole of the United States. So this is just a population breakdown or in a socioeconomic breakdown. As you can see here, Erie County is pretty representative of Pennsylvania as a whole. So that's kind of why they say the way Erie County votes is the way Pennsylvania will eventually vote. A little bit higher in its white population, a little bit less in Hispanic and Black, but it still has some percentage there. And then 65 plus, right on the dot. Foreign born, a little less. And it pretty much matches PA for the most part. Maybe plus minus 4 or 5%. But it's it's if you were to ask anyone a county that represents Pennsylvania, you wouldn't go with Philadelphia County or any other county, more urbanized county. It would really be Erie County. Um, Obviously, median household income a little bit less, so it trends a little bit less. But Pennsylvania as a whole does trend a little bit less than the United States. So that is something to take into account for. And just take a look at this. Um, what we have here, some polling data that I pulled together here. And this pretty much just represents um, the margin or the increased margin with which President Trump and then the Democrats, you could say Clinton or Biden, had gained in Erie County and then Lackawanna County. Um, so clearly here, President Trump, and obviously 2020 was a record turnout election. President Trump went up by zero point 0.7, but the Democrats, they went up by 3%. Now you could say that people didn't vote for Clinton in 2016, so that might have skewed the results, and that's fair to say. Take a look at Lackawanna County. The Lackawanna County, actually, Trump lost some ground there by about 1%, whereas the Dems actually gained about 4% in that area. Now, like I said, that's just two counties. Erie County and Lackawanna County are going to be representative. Swing counties at PA. But if you were to really look at the macro here, Trump still gained about 1.5% ground in PA. Biden did obviously gain 2.5. So, of course, this election is just going to come down to how much more of that vote can Trump steal, how much of that growth can he steal from the Democrats. Obviously, this is a third different candidates running. We had Clinton, Biden, now it's Harris. Whereas Trump was this is his third consecutive election that he's going. It's crazy to think about. But I would say the good news for the Trump campaign here is we just take a look at this. The margin of victory that was won in 2016, it was Trump won that by 0.7%. Well, look at 2020. Biden barely won that, and he only won that by 0.2. So that's actually sort of, you could say, good news for the Trump campaign is some Dems and Harris, and you look at the polling right now, it's just saying that Harris has a sizable lead, but the margin of victory, it just seems like it's so ever shrinking. Um, and that's just what the polling, or that's what the historical data suggests right here. And then look at this. I mean, even 2016, 2020, this election or this state is won by tens of thousands of votes. Now, obviously, Biden won by a little bit more, but that's just because there was larger voter turnout. Take a look here. Trump in 2016 won by zero point 0.7, Biden won by zero point 0.2. I mean, it was very narrow. And here's just kind of the growth prospects here. So that's just the counties in a nutshell, really. And if we take a look at just the counties itself, take a look at PA County. Erie County is that northwestern border, bordering the Great Lakes, and kind of that upstate part of New York. And then they got Lackawanna County right here. So Lackawanna kind of tends to go a little bit more blue. Erie actually tends to go red, slightly red, but 2020 it flipped blue. Lackawanna stayed put, it just gained more ground for Biden. But Erie does tend to go red. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these two counties go, because it's going to be indicative of how, you know, who wins the election, really, in a landslide. So just come take a look back at this map here. And what I really mean is just the potential pathways. So these are all of the 7 swing states that we have in this election. And the way the polling's going on in Polymarket here, Pennsylvania seems down. Now, Nate Silver has PA actually tied, I believe. Wisconsin, that lead is shrinking. Look at that. Just look at the odds. But let's just go back to the map real quick. And, for the most part, Trump has a sizable hold on the Sun Belt states. So let's just put North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. So, for the most part, like I said, if Harris goes ahead, cleans slate right here, she wins the election. But Trump just wins PA, or if any one of these Rust Belt states he wins the election. But I'm operating on the context that he's going to sweep these swing states, these Sun Belt states, which could very well not be true. Most are going to give him Nevada, but Nevada doesn't mean too much in the grand scheme of things with the electoral math. So I'm just going to put that out there. Georgia, they're saying could go blue. Could be a chance it goes blue. It could be one of those surprisers. You never know. North Carolina, maybe. I just don't really see it happening. So you put, and like I said, let's just say it splits. Harris is no way going to get all of these. It's just not going to happen. So, all right, Georgia 16 votes. It's nothing to you got to be serious about that. So now let's just give Trump Nevada. And, even if Trump gets Arizona, right? So here's the thing. Trump can get Wisconsin, but he's still not going to win the election. Whereas if Trump were to get PA, he wins the election. So he can lose at Georgia, which has the most votes. But even if he just loses the rest of these Rust Belt states, and if he just wins PA, he wins the election by narrow 4 votes. And Georgia does seem like it could be on that precipice. I mean, take a look at Georgia. I mean, Georgia was narrowly won. It was by 0.3%. And we're going to go into the different swing counties for all these different swing states in other videos. But it's very likely that he could lose Georgia. Just given, obviously, how much Atlanta could really be pushing. I mean, it's always going to be like an 8, DeKalb County, Fulton County, 80-15 margins. But, like I said, let's say he loses another swing state. I mean, you give it like an Arizona, and Trump would still have to at least pull another one of these swing states. But let's say he doesn't win PA, he wins Michigan and Wisconsin. He still could lose the election. Dems pick up PA, Dems win the election by 6 votes. And I honestly believe this election, based on the polling, could go by +4 or 6 votes. Now, that's based on the polling. Obviously, the pundits can argue that this really shouldn't be that close. But just look at that. I mean, Trump loses in Arizona, loses in Georgia. Let's say it could happen. And honestly, he could pick up PA, but he would still, or he wins these 2 Rust Belt states, he still is going to lose PA. If he loses PA, he loses the election. So that's how important PA is. In the grand scheme of things, with the scenario if he loses 1 or 2 Sun Belt states. And if he loses Georgia or Arizona, those are a good amount of votes. So that's just to go over all the possibilities. Like I said, if Trump sweeps these Sun Belt states, it really doesn't, it puts a lot less pressure on whether he needs to win PA. But if Trump loses at Georgia, if Trump loses in Arizona, PA matters a lot more just because of the math. Because if he loses both of these states, he, honestly speaking, he would have to pick up PA. He can't just pick up these 2 states and not pick up PA. And then on the other scenario, if Trump does not pick up Georgia, he can still pick up PA and doesn't have to win these 2 states. So, like I said, it's going to be a very tight, close-knit election. But that's sort of the way things are going right now. So, like I said, guys, just keep an eye out. We're going to go over the Veep stakes and a lot more of the other coverage for the other swing states. See you then.